Good morning, everybody, and welcome back for some War Thunder Simulator. Yes, that's right, simulator battles. I decided when I looked at finally for once remembered to actually look at the simulator lineup, and I thought, why not take the old Bagel Panzer in for a little run through simulator. After I went, this is the second battle I played on the 22nd of September. I just missed getting a shot at that Soviet tank down there, but once I reacquainted myself with the parallax here from the gunner view, because my previous battle I had the gunner view completely obscured by bushes, so parallax wasn't a problem because I could only shoot from the third-person commander view from that view right there. So I fixed that for this battle so that I could use the zoom and guide my missiles a little better, and it worked out quite a bit better in this battle. So the matchmaking was basically NATO versus Soviets, essentially. So it's the US, Germany, Britain, France, and I think even Japan against Russia alone on the other side. So more proper matchmaking for this era of tanks and technology, I guess. In the meantime, beginning back to the battle, I saw that Soviet tank, which I wasn't entirely sure what it was at the time. I know it's a T-64 now. I thought maybe that guy was going to be it right there, but it was definitely a Challenger, and it's very important if you're going to play simulator to learn the silhouettes from pretty much all aspects and all angles that you might encounter in any kind of a tank, because you can team kill in simulator, and you don't want to do it. So the Challenger wasn't shooting at the guy that we know is up here, so I'm kind of trying to creep up on him. We took A, and they took B, so I'm not entirely sure where this guy is. I know he's up here somewhere, but it's a little tricky because you can't see where your teammates are either. So moving up on him, figuring he's probably in some kind of an ambush up here by the edge of there we go. So we got an MBT or a KPZ firing a missile up here, and then cruising in on the enemy tank, and there it is. It was a T-64 Bravo, and he's knocked out. So I was quite appreciative that he took him out, because I probably would have driven right in front of him there. So thank you very much there, MBT-70. Pretty sweet MBT-70 camo, actually. And then we moved out onward. So I've got the MBT-70 in front of me. I've got the Challenger Mark II coming in behind me. And I'm kind of trying to stick with these guys a little bit, but I want to move in towards B. So they're off to my right, getting closer to the enemy spawn. I don't know if they're actually going into the enemy spawn or not. It's hard to tell, of course, in simulator. So I'm moving up towards B, and what do I encounter? Well, that sure looks like a T-64 engine. He saw or heard me light him up with the 57 mil, hit him with the tow missile, and then finally finish him off with quite a barrage of shots. Thankfully, he didn't have a good shot at me through the wall there. I had him broadside, and he did not have a great shot, whereas I had a nice broadside shot into him. So one T-64 down, and let's see if we can make it on over to B. So the enemy team is now capturing C. Presumably, that's where the enemy tank went from B, but who knows? It's really hard to tell without knowing where your teammates are and seeing anything marked on the map. We've got artillery coming in on us, and that was as soon as we got into the cap. I don't know if it was friendly or not. It's hard to tell in simulator. So I pulled up where I had a bit of cover in front of me and could watch for any enemy tanks sneaking in from our spawn, because by now T-64s could have made it there easily. And the Challenger hit me with machine guns, which is a little bit annoying when you're playing simulator, because you don't want to take any plink shots. But it was not a real big deal, just I wondered why he did it. I thought maybe he wanted me to move out of the way, so I moved back, but then he turned away and just parked and guarded the other direction, so. Anyway, doesn't matter, kind of irrelevant. I'm moving on towards this machine gun I can hear up here, assuming it's up in the normal hidey holes at the abandoned factory, but there was nobody in sight. So circled around to the left to kind of flank in behind him here, expecting them to be right down below this wall, and they're not there either. So not entirely sure what's going on here. I figure I better go check it out, because either it's a friendly who's shooting at something, hopefully, enemy, or it's an enemy that's shooting at, presumably, a teammate. Now, there's smoke going on over at the B point that I couldn't do much about. And it ended up being a good thing I came over here, because there was a T-64B right on top of one of my teammates. Let him have it, and then a moment later, there's a T-64A in front of me that finally ended my reign of terror in my first Big Light Panzer 57. But, as this is simulator, I got to come back in a spare Big Light Panzer 57. So I did. So we know we've got enemy tanks moving in on B. And I'm trying to get in there, get back to the B point and help my team out. And here comes an enemy helicopter that for a moment I thought, well, I better make sure that's not a Cobra, but it turns out it was most decidedly a Hind. So took a few shots at him, trying to gauge my distance down a little, but he ended up getting taken out by the MBT-70, so no problem there. One helicopter down. And time to slowly move back into B. But I let the team know. This is something else that I've noticed the very few times that I've played Simulator. I don't have a ton of experience in sim battles. But I have noticed that a lot of people don't type very much. Now, I know typing kind of takes away your ability to react and fire at enemy vehicles you might encounter. But especially when you're on your way respawning into a battle, I don't think it hurts to let the team know where you are and say, here I am, I'm moving this way. Now, I was not squatted here, but it's really useful for your team, or your squad, right? Well, for both your team and your squad, if you use the squad menu to use follow me commands or need backup type commands, just to identify where you are to your squad mates. That lets your squad mates know with a ping on the map without letting your entire team know to say, like, follow me or need backup or whatever. So you use the K button to type it to use the squad tree rather than the T button. It's pretty useful. I can't demonstrate it here because I didn't have a squad. I just was playing solo, but at any rate, they're taking the B point, and I'm moving in to try and stop them. And they start taking the A point. Now, they started taking the B point, and then they backed out of it. And they made it into A, and you can see machine gun fire from the T-64 up here, just at the corner. And I pull up, try to cover myself somewhat from view on the left. You can see the T-64 getting marked on the map there by the teammate that can see him. And I pull up in an ambush position and wait for him to come up while I finish capturing. I pulled this forward as far as I could, just to make sure that he wasn't going past me and looping around, flanking around to the right. One thing that's really great about the Bagel Panzer is the two weapons that you can employ. The 57mm cannon, autocannon, and then the follow-up with the tow missile, and it's really useful for taking out T-64s, as you can see there. And, I mean, high-velocity APFSDS, while I think it should cause a huge fire inside a tank, because that's what APFSDS rounds do when they go through metal armor plate, but they don't in this game, and since they don't, all you get is the spalling from them, and in this case, the lighter armor of the front of the Big Light Panzer 57 only cost me 3 of my 5 crew members instead of a complete destruction. Which I feel for the T-64 there in chat, but at the same time, if he'd have had ATGMs loaded, he would have killed me for sure, and that would have been the end of the battle, and probably never would have been a video, but at any rate, he did some pretty serious damage to me that I happened to survive, and then I was able to hit him with everything I had in return and take him out. In the meantime, my teammate in the Challenger knocked out another T-64B off to the right there, and we hurried ourselves into the A point. And the nice thing was, when I checked the team scores a moment later, there's only one enemy left, although the one enemy in the T-64 who just got killed still has a potential respawn. So we made it into A, we started decapping it. Our teammates made it into C and started decapping that. We're looking pretty good here. We've got a few more vehicles left than the enemy does. We're not wasting our time in aircraft. Which is not to say that aircraft would not be useful, because they certainly can be. But in this case, we're not going to win from airplanes. We're going to... Well, we actually could, because there's only one enemy left. Now there's two. But my point is, tanks capturing the ground territory are going to win this battle much more reliably than airplanes trying to kill out the tanks. Even in FJ-4Bs with AGMs. Anyway, our Challenger gets hit right here and loses his tracks. And I pull out, and that sure looks like a tank there, and certainly that's a T-55 AM-1. All I could tell was it was a Soviet tank. I thought I took a pretty serious hit, but it turns out he just kind of yellowed out my transmission, and luckily I hit him with both the autocannon and a tow missile right in the middle of his hull, and that was that. For my 4th kill to follow up along with 3 captures, and even saved a teammate, so paid back the assistance from the Challenger 1 Mark II there. And that was that. The last guy left had been destroyed in his T-64B twice, so that meant the only thing he could possibly be in is an airplane, so I pulled in undercover here and just kind of hid out for the ticket to bleed off. I didn't really want to get taken out by Tiny Ivans or anything in case he had a MiG-17 or a MiG-15. Or honestly, even an Su-6 could be dangerous at this point. So, held out, and we'll hung out undercover a little bit, and we'll skip ahead a bit just to save you having to watch me sit here. The skies are clear. Hello? Hello, Ivan? Ivan, where are you? Ivan Gajinovich, where are you? Anyway, as you can see, not much more activity, and then the battle ended. Not too bad, and recognize the score I got here and how much better it pays out in Simulator. Get ready for this. Yeah. Pretty good payout on the research and modification research. Not bad with no boosters turned on. 4 kills, 3 captures, only 1 death, 1st place, and a victory. Pretty decent awards. A nice color variation on the kill feed. And that'll do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Good luck in simulator battles if you try it out. Make sure you know what your teammates and your enemies look like, because you can team kill. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone.